and I'm ready to wax. Alright, so my wax is all heated up, and I just want to know about where to wax. I'm in my bathroom right now for two reasons. One, this can be a little bit of a sticky situation, so we're going to be in a place that I can easily clean it up. And then the second reason is because the bathroom is a pretty cool area of your house in general, and you want your wax to be at this perfect temperature for longer. And if you're outside or if you're in a very hot room, it's going to get a lot mushier very fast. So you just want to be in the ideal temperature to be able to get the most out of your wax. I think this is about 3 weeks, and again, I've been sugaring for a while now, on and off, and so I just noticed over time there's just not a lot of regrowth afterwards, which makes it really easy to wax when I do wax. And so I can tell, though, I have put on deodorant this morning, so I'm going to make sure both of my armpits are clean. So we're just keeping it simple. Just have a damp washcloth and just try to get any of that extra moisture and gunk off your armpits so the sugar can more easily attach to your hair. If you want to be fancy, you can use some micellar cleansing water or whatever cleansing agent that you might use for your face. I like using it because I just feel like my armpits are squeaky clean right after I use it, but not necessary, just if you want to be extra like me. If your hairs are over 1/4 of an inch, you probably want to trim them. Once they start overlapping each other, the sugar wax is less effective, so just trim them down. Okay, now I'm just gonna tap to dry, and we're going to use our powder to absorb any extra moisture as well. So I'm just using baby powder. If you don't have baby powder, you can use cornstarch, you can use flour, tapioca flour, almond flour, really any type of powder, even like setting powder that you might use for your makeup. You just want to be able to absorb just the additional moisture, and you don't need much. If you don't have anything, if you don't bake and have flour, interesting life choices, but you don't have to do this step if you feel like your armpits or whatever you're waxing is already dry. You'll notice it feels very dry afterwards. You want to just look at your pits and see what direction your hair is growing. With sugaring, you want to mold the sugar in the opposite direction of hair growth and then pull it in the direction of hair growth, so it's a lot easier to remove the hair. And for most pits, you can see this hair on the upper part of my armpit grows up, and on the lower part, more directions, but in general it grows down. So I'm going to be using that as a guide as I wax my armpits. Alright, so I am going to be grabbing a pretty decent sized chunk of my sugar. I would say this is the size of a small lychee, which is one of my favorite fruits. If you don't know how big lychee is, it's about this big. And I want to mold it. Oh, this is my favorite part. And when you mold it, it's gonna start changing into this caramel color. And just as long as it starts getting opaque, it doesn't have to be this caramel color. It might actually be more like a white silky color. But just, you see it, it's already changed colors since talking. Now I'm kind of gonna mold it into a ball. Get my pit. I want to raise my arm up, and then I bend my hand, you see my hand over here, and kind of help by pulling my skin more taut with this right hand. So this right hand is doing a lot, this left hand is doing a lot, that's why we need practice. So hair is growing up, I'm gonna mold the wax down. So I'm gonna start a little higher up than the hair growth. And then with 3 fingers, I wanna push down just directly 90 degrees and mold it against my hair. All right, if I can let go, I can, and mold it over. Let's do 2 or 3 times. It might be sticky, don't worry. Just leave it on your hands. I'm going to flick up as fast as I can, and when I flick, I'm flicking just as directly up as I can. All right, 3, and I'm grabbing a little bit. 3, 2, 1, flick. You can see all the goodness. I'm gonna miss you here, but you'll be back in a month. All right. How did that feel? It shouldn't hurt too much. Because it's a little harder to work with, I'm just going to mold it even slower and just let my body heat it up. All right. Mold it again. And you really want to kind of like dig in there. Your finger strength might weird. Okay. 3, 2, 1, flick. Yeah, you saw that grabbed a lot of hairs. I love this product. And now this bottom part. So it's growing down. I'm going to mold it up. And this is like where your hand angle, ooh, see that part was lifting up. Did you see that? It was lifting up while I was pulling it. That's okay. Just try to smash it down, especially in the beginning. 3, 2, 1, flick. That's pretty good. You really don't need a ton of wax, which is great. Like a little really goes a long way. If there's some little hairs like that, I just grab a little piece. Try to make it warm. The warmer it is, the finer the hairs it will grab. And then just use it, squish it down. Okay, and then just rip it. 1 armpit down, a little red, which is expected. I'm like grabbing hairs from the follicle. My skin's like, why? What I do is it's gonna be very sticky. We're gonna take our damp washcloth again. Gently, gently, your skin's been through a lot. Wipe down that residue. So I like using cold water for this part. What I like to do next is I just like to put a little calming agent on afterwards. And that's either aloe, or if you have witch hazel, that's also really nice because it's an astringent, so it closes the pores and just prevents clogging and extra dirt and ingrowns. I really react well to aloe. I use it for mosquito bites, for sunburns. So if you react well to aloe, then this should also be good for post-waxing. And as you see, I'm just dabbing it. What you don't want to do is you don't want to put on deodorant right now, because that's just going to clog up the pores at the moment where the pores are open right now and raw and sensitive. And so just wait 24 hours before you put on deodorant. If you get stinky fast, like I do, I just go back to whatever you used in the beginning to absorb the moisture and just put on some baby powder. This is the before and the after. Yeah. If you don't like using your hands, you can also use the applicator. And I think I would recommend using the applicator if it's pretty flexible in the beginning and it kind of feels like it's melting already. That's a great time to use the applicator. And if it's really melty, it's a great time to use the strips. So I like using this top side because it's a flatter side as opposed to the bottom side. So I'm just gonna stick my sugar to the end of the straight side, the straight edge, and then take it. As I said, my hair grows up, and so I'm going to mold the sugar down, and this is the angle you want. almost perpendicular and slow so it can really adhere to the hair. Okay, I'm using my left hand to help pull my skin taut and then just flick. All right, and if that happens, you just grab it, pull down again, and flick. All right, and then you just keep on doing that until you've waxed off all the hair. Watch the angle that I flick my applicator in. Okay, so let's say your wax is pretty flexible, it's pretty melty. That means it's at a good point to use the cloth strips. Grab the strip, mold it on. I like to rub it a bit, and then I did it mostly to my lower part, which is where my hair grows down, so I'm gonna flick up. All right, 3, 2, 1. It comes off beautifully, look at that. And let's say you're getting really sweaty, it's hot, totally normal, don't freak out. Just reapply your baby powder. You can reapply it on your hands and your pits because your hands are also getting sweaty, and that will really help with the application process. And cleanup is super easy. All you have to do is get a bowl of water, and you can put your strips in it, just let it soak. Put your applicator in there, just let it soak. Within a few hours or less, the sugar will just dissolve in the water and you'll have clean strips, you'll have clean applicator. Very easy. And also, if you have any extra sugar on your counter, just use some water, gently scrub it off. If you have sugar on your hands, just use some water, scrub it off. I recommend warm water. It'll start melting the wax and it'll be very easy to come off. So don't freak out. I know it can kind of feel like a sticky mess and that you'll never get it clean, but water will clean it up. So just let me know what feedback you have. I'm trying to make just little baby improvements and just progress and make the best products for you. And so let me know what worked, what didn't work, and I would be very happy to just make those changes so we can all be sugar mamas and sugar papas. All right, thanks guys.